have to understand something powerful. You are not a product of where you came from. You are a product of what you choose to believe about yourself. Every single thing you see around you right now was once an idea in someone's mind. The phone in your hand, the chair you're sitting on, the home you live in, all of it started as a thought. That's how creation works. Everything you see in your physical world first existed in someone's imagination. And that same creative power lies inside you. The best version of you is not hiding somewhere out there, waiting to be found. It's waiting to be built from the inside out. You have to recognize that your thoughts are the blueprint, your emotions are the energy, and your actions are the builders that bring that version of you into reality. The reason most people never experience their full potential because they don't realize how powerful their inner world is. They think life is happening to them, when in truth, life is happening through them. They think they're reacting to circumstances when in reality they're creating them with their beliefs. The image you hold in your mind determines the results you live in. If you see yourself as small, weak, and limited, that's exactly how life will treat you. But the moment you shift that image, the moment you start seeing yourself as capable, deserving, and powerful, the universe starts aligning itself to match that vision. Because you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Every day, from the moment you open your eyes, you are programming your mind. You're either feeding it with thoughts of growth and expansion or with doubt and limitation. Most people don't even realize the conversation they're having with themselves every minute of the day. They wake up and immediately say things like, I'm tired, I can't do this, nothing ever works out for me. And then they wonder why their life feels heavy and stuck. But when you start to consciously rewire that dialogue, everything changes. Instead of saying, I can't, you say, I can't. Instead of saying, I don't know how, I will find a way. You begin to create from power, not from fear. You stop living as a victim of your circumstances and start living as the architect of your destiny. There's a silent power in understanding that your outer world is nothing but a mirror reflecting your inner thoughts. If your relationships are toxic, if your finances are weak, if your confidence is low, it's not because life is unfair. It's because your inner programming is attracting experiences that match your current vibration. The best version of you doesn't live in lack or fear because that version of you has learned to master the inner world first. You must take full responsibility for every thought that crosses your mind because every thought carries energy and that energy creates form. When you truly grasp that, you realize you've never been powerless. You've just been unaware. To be the best version of you, you have to begin by designing a new mental picture of yourself. See yourself healthy, confident, successful, fulfilled. Hold that image so clearly in your mind that you can feel it in your body. Imagine it until it becomes real in your emotional state. The moment you do that, your mind starts to find ways to make it happen. You'll notice ideas coming to you out of nowhere, opportunities showing up, people aligning with your vision. That's not coincidence. That's creation responding to your focus. Because energy flows where attention goes. You must start living as if you are already that version of yourself. Walk like it. Talk like it. I think like it. Make decisions from that level of consciousness. Don't wait for the external evidence to show up first. Become the evidence. You don't wait for confidence to appear. You act confident and it grows. You don't wait for success to come. You live with the mindset of success and it manifests. Everything starts with belief, and belief is nothing but repeated thought. Whatever you continue to tell yourself, your subconscious mind accepts as truth. So if you want to change your reality, you have to change the story you've been telling yourself. The best version of you already exists in another dimension of thought, waiting for you to align with it. The only gap between who you are and who you want to be is your level of awareness. You raise your awareness by feeding your mind new ideas, by studying success, by spending time in silence, visualizing the life you desire, and by refusing to let old patterns of fear and doubt dominate your mental space. You become a deliberate thinker. You start to think from your vision instead of your circumstances. You stop reacting to life and start commanding it. The truth is, every time you decide to believe in yourself, you shift your entire vibration. You send a signal to the universe that says, I am ready. You are no longer waiting for someone to give you permission to rise. You realize that nobody's opinion can define your work. You realize that your environment doesn't limit you, only your mindset does. And when you make that internal shift, life begins to bend in your favor. People start noticing your energy. Opportunities begin to chase you instead of you chasing them. Because once you become aligned internally, your external world has no choice but to follow. From the moment you were born, the world began shaping you. Family, teachers, friends, society, they all started building invisible walls around your mind. They told you what was possible, what was realistic, what was acceptable. They gave you labels. smart, average, talented, lazy, strong, weak, and over time, you began to believe them. But the truth is none of those labels define who you truly are. They only define the version of you that others were comfortable with. The best version of you exists beyond every limitation you've inherited. The limits you believe in were not born with you. They were taught to you, spoken into you, and repeated until you accepted them as truth. The first step to becoming the best version of yourself is to question every boundary that has ever been placed around your potential. You have to understand that most of the beliefs you carry today were handed down to you by people who were doing the best they could with the awareness they had. Maybe they told you money is hard to earn. Maybe they told you dreams are unrealistic. Maybe they told you to stay safe, to not take risks, to follow the path that everyone else takes. But here's the thing. They were teaching you their limits, not yours. The human mind is infinite in potential, but most people live like they're bound by invisible ropes of fear and doubt. They live small because they've been conditioned to think small. They never question the program they're running, and because of that, they never experience who they truly could be. To break free, you have to go to war with the patterns that have kept you ordinary. You have to look your beliefs in the eye and ask, does it serve the person I want to become? If the answer is no, you have to be brave enough to replace it. Breaking inherited limits is not easy because the mind clings to what is familiar. It will tell you it's too risky, it's too late, it's too hard. But that voice is not the voice of truth. It's the echo of your conditioning. You must be willing to step beyond it. Every time you push yourself into the unknown, you expand your capacity. Every time you say yes to growth and no to fear, you reclaim a piece of your true power. The world around you mirrors the world within you. If you believe you are limited, you'll see evidence everywhere. You'll notice obstacles, competition, reasons to quit. But when you believe you are boundless, when you know that your potential has no ceiling, you'll begin to see opportunity in every direction. It's not that life changes, it's that your perception does. You start seeing with new eyes, thinking with new awareness, and living with new energy. That is how transformation begins. Not by changing the world outside, but by upgrading the world inside. Most people are prisoners of their past. They keep replaying old failures, old mistakes, old disappointments. They drag that energy in the present, and it becomes the lens through which they see life. But you cannot become the best version of yourself if you're still chained to the person you used to be. You must be willing to release that version, to forgive it, to let it go. Every new level of you requires a new identity. You can't carry old thinking into a new life. You can't bring fear into freedom and expect to fly. The moment you release the past, you make space for the future. It takes courage to unlearn. It takes faith to trust a vision that no one else can see. But that's what separates the great from the average. The best version of you will never be found in imitation. It will only be revealed through authenticity. You have to stop comparing your path to anyone else's. Stop trying to fit into systems that were never built for your growth. You were designed to create, not to conform. You were meant to build, not to blend in. The more you live by your truth, the more power you awaken within you. Breaking free from inherited limits is not just a mental process. It's an emotional awakening. It means healing from the voices that told you you weren't enough. It means forgiving those who doubted you, not because they were right, but because holding on keeps you trapped. Every time you let go of judgment, every time you choose belief over fear, you rise higher. You begin to understand that there was never anything wrong with you. You were simply living under the weight of other people's fears. You have to become bold enough to rewrite your story. No more repeating the script handed to you. No more living by rules that keep you average. You get to decide what's possible for you. You get to choose how far you go. You get to create a life that feels aligned with who you really are. When you realize that the limits you thought were real were only illusions, something powerful happens. Your spirit wakes up. You begin to feel alive again. You start to dream again. You begin to move with conviction because now you know the truth. The only thing that was ever holding you back was belief. Once that belief breaks, nothing can stop you. Everybody wants to become their best self, but very few are willing to do what it takes every single day when no one is watching. Discipline is not something you practice when it's convenient. It's a lifestyle, a mindset, a silent agreement you make with yourself that no matter how you feel, you will show up. The truth is, motivation fades, excitement fades, but discipline, that's the bridge between the life you have and the life you want. You cannot step into greatness with weak habits. You can dream big, talk big, post big, but if your actions don't match the vision, you'll never see results. Discipline is what turns your vision into a lived reality. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, but It's what separates the average from the unstoppable. When you look at anyone who has achieved mastery in any area of life, whether it's business, sports, or personal growth, you'll find one common thread. They didn't rely on emotion. They relied on commitment. They woke up on days they didn't feel like it. They pushed through exhaustion, boredom, and fear. They trained their minds to obey them instead of being ruled by fleeting feelings. That's what true discipline looks like. It's doing what needs to be done long after the mood in which you said you'd do it has left. Because emotion will always fluctuate, but purpose must stay constant. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your self-respect. Every time you do the hard thing, when you could have chosen the easy one, you build the muscle of greatness. Discipline is not punishment, it's power. It's how you gain control over your future. The reason most people stay stuck in the same patterns year after year, because they let comfort dictate their choices. They say they want success, but spend their nights scrolling, procrastinating, and making excuses. The best version of you is waiting on the other side of those excuses. You will never rise higher than your standards. If you keep negotiating with yourself, you will keep producing the same life. Discipline is saying, I will not settle. I will not lower my standards to match my feelings. My feelings will rise to meet my standards. That's the mindset that transforms you. Think of your daily habits like seeds. Every action you take is planting something. The question is, what are you planting? Are you planting consistency, focus, and resilience? Or are you planting laziness, distraction, and doubt? Because what you plant, you will harvest. The best version of you isn't built in a day. It's built through small, consistent choices compounded over time. You might not see the results immediately, but if you stay consistent, something powerful begins to shift. Your mind adapts, your body aligns, your energy elevates. The process is slow, but it's sure. Greatness is not about intensity. It's about consistency. It's about showing up when the excitement is gone, when no one claps, when the progress feels invisible. Most people quit not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They start something, and when they don't see instant results, they give up. But discipline teaches you the art of persistence. It teaches you that progress is invisible before it's visible. It teaches you that every time you push through, you're not just building skills, you're building character. And character is the foundation of the best version of you. You can't buy it. You can't fake it. You have to earn it through repeated effort. The stronger your discipline, the stronger your character. The stronger your character, the stronger your destiny. You have to stop waiting for the right time, the right mood, the right opportunity. Discipline creates the right time. It creates the right energy. You want a better body. Discipline your diet and your workout. You want more success. Discipline your mind and your time. You want peace. Discipline your thoughts. Everything you desire is connected to discipline. Without it, nothing grows. With it, everything changes. You can't control every circumstance, but you can control your effort. You can control your focus. You can control your consistency. And when you master that, life starts to bend in your favor. Every act of discipline builds trust within yourself. When you say you'll wake up early and you do it, your subconscious starts to believe you're serious. When you say you'll commit to your goals and follow through, you reinforce your power. Most people don't realize that self-trust is built through discipline. When you keep breaking promises to yourself, your mind stops believing you. That's why you feel stuck. But the moment you start keeping those promises, no matter how small, you begin to rebuild your power. You start walking differently, thinking differently, living differently. Discipline doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are becoming. It's in the small, quiet moments where no one is watching that your destiny is being shaped. It's in those mornings when you wake up tired but push through anyway. It's in those nights when you want to quit but finish strong. Discipline is not glamorous. It's gritty. It's lonely. It's uncelebrated. But it's the foundation upon which all success is built. Without discipline, dreams remain fantasies. With discipline, fantasies become achievements. Every version of you that you've ever dreamed of becoming is waiting for you on the other side of consistency. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you take one step closer to that version. Every time you silence the voice of laziness and listen to the voice of purpose, you raise your vibration and align yourself with the life you were meant to live. Energy is contagious. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, the environment you live in, all of it is shaping who you're becoming, whether you realize it or not. You can't become the best version of yourself while staying in rooms that drain your spirit. You can't rise if you're constantly surrounded by those who choose comfort over growth. The truth is, your environment is either pushing you toward your potential or pulling you away from it. Every voice, every atmosphere, every influence is planting something inside you. That's why it's so important to be intentional. about where you place your energy and who you give access to your space. If you want to elevate, you have to protect your frequency like your future depends on it, because it does. There are two types of energy in your life, the kind that fuels you and the kind that drains you. You've got people who inspire you, challenge you, and remind you of what's possible. And then you've got people who constantly talk about problems, complain, gossip, and dwell in negativity. The energy you allow into your world determines the energy you operate from. If you spend too much time absorbing low vibrations, you'll start lowering your own standards without even noticing. You'll begin to think smaller, dream less, and doubt more. But when you surround yourself with high frequency energy, people who think big, talk growth, and live with purpose, your entire mindset begins to expand. You begin to expect more from yourself. You start believing that greatness isn't just for others, it's within your reach too. You have to become aware of how deeply your environment shapes your thinking. When you spend time around those who make excuses, you start thinking excuses are normal. When you spend time with those who take ownership, you start believing that results are within your control. You absorb the mindset of your circle. That's why successful people are so protective of their time. They understand that one negative conversation can plant a seed of doubt that takes weeks to shake off. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary. You have to learn to say no to energy that doesn't align with where you're going. You can love people from a distance and still refuse to let their negativity infect your vision. Your environment isn't just people. It's also your habits, your routines, your surroundings, the music you listen to, the content you consume, the spaces you live in all hold energy. If your space is cluttered, your mind becomes cluttered. If you constantly feed your mind noise and drama, your spirit gets distracted. The best version of you can't grow in chaos. You have to create an environment that reflects the level you want to live on. That means cleaning up your physical space, decluttering your mental space, and surrounding yourself with symbols of growth. Read books that stretch your mind. Listen to ideas that elevate your spirit. Spend time in silence where your intuition can speak. Energy management is life management. There comes a point in life when you realize you can't evolve and stay the same. You can't hold on to everyone and everything and still rise. Growth will demand separation. It will require you to leave behind certain people, places, and patterns. And that's not rejection, it's alignment. Some people were meant to be part of your history, not your destiny. They played their role, they taught you lessons, but they can't go where you're headed. You have to stop feeling guilty for outgrowing environments that no longer feed your purpose. The moment you start choosing your energy over approval, you begin stepping into your power. Every time you elevate your energy, you attract a higher quality of life. You'll notice new people entering your circle, thinkers, dreamers, builders. You'll attract conversations that challenge you to grow, not complain. You'll find yourself drawn to peace instead of drama. This is the natural order of alignment. The universe matches your vibration. When you vibrate on a higher frequency, gratitude, vision, belief, consistency, everything in your world begins to reorganize itself to fit that energy. That's why you can't afford to entertain negativity. Every thought, every word, every action is a vibration. When you stay in low energy conversations, you block the flow of your higher self. To be the best version of yourself, you have to become selective with your access. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people only come to drain your strength, not to share your vision. You have to stop trying to convince small minds to understand big dreams. The best version of you doesn't beg for validation. It creates its own standard. You have to learn to walk alone until you find energy that matches your elevation. Because once you do, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your focus sharpens, your vision becomes clear. When you start surrounding yourself with high energy people who challenge your thinking, celebrate your progress, and hold you accountable, your growth becomes exponential. You stop wasting energy explaining your purpose and start channeling that energy into execution. Your circle starts feeding your faith instead of your fears. You become unstoppable because you're no longer walking alone. You're walking in alignment with energy that multiplies your power. The truth is, the environment you create today will determine the quality of your tomorrow. Your energy is your greatest currency, and the way you spend it determines your destiny. You can either invest it in people and places that build you or waste it in cycles that break you. The best version you requires a new level of awareness. An awareness that says, I am too focused to be distracted, too intentional to be drained, and too purpose-driven to settle for low energy. A growth doesn't happen in comfort. Every version of your higher self will demand a sacrifice, a shedding of something old, an old habit, an old mindset, an old version of you that's no longer meant to survive where you're going. The process of transformation is not meant to feel good. It's meant to stretch you, to break you open so the real you can emerge. The pain you feel while growing is not punishment, it's preparation. It's life's way of forcing you to expand beyond your limits, to see what you're truly capable of when you stop running from discomfort and start learning from it. Most people pray for growth, but reject the very conditions that make it possible. They want elevation without pressure, change without challenge, progress without pain. But you can't develop strength without resistance. You can't build faith without uncertainty. You can't become the best version of yourself without walking through the fire that burns away who you used to be. There's a reason diamonds are formed under pressure and muscles grow under tension. It's because growth requires force. It requires something that tests your endurance, your patience, your focus. The moments that hurt the most are the ones that shape you the deepest. Every failure, every heartbreak, every disappointment carries a lesson meant to evolve you. Pain is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It reveals what still needs healing, what still needs discipline, what still needs faith. When life gets difficult, it's not trying to destroy you, it's trying to strengthen you. But most people get so caught up in the emotion of discomfort that they miss the message inside it. They see the storm, but never realize the storm is building their foundation. Growth will demand that you outgrow your excuses. It will call you to step into situations that feel uncomfortable and uncertain. It will push you to face fears you've been avoiding and take risks you've been resisting. And every time you answer that call, you stretch your identity. You begin to realize that the limits you once believed were real were only walls built by fear. Once you push past them, you start to see how much power was sleeping inside you all along. But to awaken that power, you must be willing to endure temporary discomfort. Growth is not meant to feel safe. It's meant to feel necessary. Most people stop right before the breakthrough. They feel the pain, the uncertainty, the frustration, and they pull back. They tell themselves it's too hard, too risky, too painful. But that's the exact moment when you have to keep going, because pain always comes before the transformation. The discomfort is not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're evolving. The process of growth feels like breaking because the old version of you is dying, and death is never comfortable. But if you can hold on through that season, if you can keep your faith when everything in you wants to quit, something beautiful happens. You emerge stronger, clearer, and more aligned with your true purpose. You have to stop running from the hard things. The hard things are the doorway to your power. When you face challenges, you build resilience. When you go through loss, you learn gratitude. When you get rejected, you build confidence in your own worth. Every obstacle carries within it a gift, but you can only receive it when you stop complaining and start asking, what is this teaching me? That question turns pain into wisdom. It transforms suffering into strength. Growth doesn't come from easy days. It comes from the moments that demand everything from you. Sometimes life will strip you of what's familiar so you can discover what's eternal. You'll lose people, positions, and comfort zones, not because life is cruel, but because you're being guided toward a higher version of yourself. The person you're becoming can't survive in the same space as your old habits. The best version of you is waiting beyond the layers of fear, pride, and attachment that have been keeping you small. Growth will pull you away from what's safe and push you into the unknown. But that unknown is where your power lies. It's where your potential breathes. It's where you find the strength you never knew you had. You can't expect transformation while clinging to comfort. The two can't coexist. If you want to become stronger, you must be willing to endure the process that builds strength. If you want clarity, you must be willing to sit in the confusion long enough for understanding to reveal itself. If you want peace, you must be willing to face your chaos. The road to becoming your best self is not smooth. It's filled with resistance, detours, and tests. But every test refines you. Every challenge purifies your vision. Every setback is a setup for the next level of your evolution. Pain will teach you patience. It will teach you humility. It will show you who you are when nothing goes your way. Those are the lessons that build character. And character is the foundation of transformation. You can't rush the process. You have to trust that everything you go through has a purpose. The same pressure that breaks others will build you if you choose to see it differently. Growth is not about avoiding pain. It's about mastering it, using it as fuel instead of fear. Every time you rise after falling, every time you push through resistance, every time you keep believing when the odds are against you, you're not just surviving, you're evolving into the best version of yourself. Life changes the moment you stop living for approval and start living for purpose. The best version of you doesn't chase validation, it moves with conviction. Most people wake up every day with pressure sitting on their shoulders, pressure to perform, pressure to impress, pressure to meet standards that were never even theirs. They measure their worth by other people's opinions and live in constant anxiety, wondering if they're doing enough. But when you shift your focus from pressure to purpose, everything changes. You stop asking, what will they think of me? And start asking, what was I created to do? That's where freedom begins. That's where peace enters your life. Because when you live with purpose, you no longer need external approval. Your fulfillment comes from within. Purpose gives your life direction. It gives meaning to your struggles and clarity to your chaos. When you know why you're doing something, you can endure almost anything. You stop being tossed around by emotions or temporary failures because you understand the mission is bigger than the moment. Pressure lives in the world of comparison, but purpose lives in the world of calling. The person who lives under pressure tries to be everything to everyone, but the person who lives with purpose knows exactly who they are and what they're here to do. When you operate from purpose, you wake up with intention. You move differently. You speak differently. You carry an inner peace that no circumstance can shake. The best version of you doesn't strive to be perfect. It strives to be real. Perfection is a trap that kills joy and breeds insecurity. You are never meant to be flawless. You are meant to be faithful. Faithful to your calling, faithful to your growth, faithful to the gifts you've been given. When you live with purpose, you stop trying to control everything. You begin to trust the process. You understand that setbacks are setups, that timing is divine, and that your path doesn't have to look like anyone else's. You're no longer racing against the clock or competing with others. You're simply aligning with your assignment. You start realizing that peace and pressure cannot coexist. Pressure is rooted in fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being unseen. But purpose is rooted in faith, faith that you are guided, faith that you are capable, faith that you are exactly where you need to be. When you move from fear to faith, you stop rushing the journey. You stop trying to force results. You start living from a place of inner assurance instead of outer validation. The best version of you doesn't panic when things take longer than expected because it knows growth takes time. It knows every delay carries wisdom, every detour carries purpose, and every season serves a reason. When you live with purpose, even your pain becomes valuable. You start seeing lessons in the loss, strength in the struggle, meaning in the moments that once broke you. Purpose turns wounds into wisdom and pain into power. The experiences that once made you bitter now make you better. You begin to see that nothing in your life has been wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the failure, not the waiting. Everything has been preparing you for the person you were destined to become. Purpose gives you the vision to see beyond what's happening and the faith to believe that something greater is forming. Pressure says you need to prove yourself, but purpose says you need to express yourself. Pressure comes from the outside. Purpose rises from the inside. The more connected you are to your purpose, the less affected you are by external noise. You stop trying to please everyone and start focusing on impact. You stop performing and start creating. You stop chasing opportunities and start attracting them because your energy shifts. People can feel authenticity. They can sense when you're operating from your heart instead of your ego. The moment you start living for purpose, you begin to draw the right people, the right ideas, and the right doors into your path. You'll notice that when you move with purpose, peace follows you. It's not that life gets easier. It's that your spirit gets stronger. You no longer see challenges as punishments. You see them as preparation. You stop trying to control outcomes and start mastering your mindset. Every day becomes meaningful because you know you're moving in alignment. In mind, even small steps feel significant because you're walking in truth. That's what separates the best version of you from the version that's lost. Awareness. Awareness that you are not here to impress, but to express, not to compete, but complete the work that was placed within you. You have to remind yourself daily that purpose is not something you find, it's something you live. It's not hidden in some distant place. It's woven into who you already are. Every time you listen to your intuition, every time you act from love instead of fear, every time you choose meaning over approval, you are walking in purpose. The world tries to make you believe you're behind, that you need to be doing more, achieving more, becoming more. But the truth is, you already are enough when you live in alignment with what you were created to do. Purpose silences the noise, grounds your spirit, and connects you to something bigger than yourself. When you operate from that space, your energy becomes magnetic. You move with calm confidence, knowing that your steps are ordered, your path is guided, and your journey is unfolding exactly as it should.